So, welcome to the Digital Maddie Show with your host and host Mithil, a pod made exclusively for solopreneurs, artists, and coaches who wants to build their digital empire. With 15 plus years of business experience, I cover topics on personal branding, content creation, and digital marketing on this show and invite many experts who share the same passion like mine. I am super excited to have this guest on our show today. He's already into the studio, but before I welcome him, let me just give you a little brief about him. So he goes by the name as Kurt, and he is globally recognized marketer, operator, as well as a speaker. He's built and run businesses from startup to over $500 million annual revenue, assembled team across all the six continents, been part of the small team leading an IPO, which is $880 million roughly, and participated in dozens of acquisition. Kurt and his team have analyzed more than 50,000 real estate websites over each of the past 3 years and in the agent businesses behind them to identify what works and what doesn't in the modern marketing. And without wasting much of our time, let me just bring the hero itself. So we have on the stage Kurt. Welcome, Kurt.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, Kurt, I would like to request you to share your backstory with all of us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I don't know, I have that kind of a little bit of the background you hear from a lot of people, but also very different. I've been a serial and parallel entrepreneur since I was 14. At that time, I had two businesses running that I was starting to hire enough employees that the U.S. government was going to make me file taxes, and so I filed for two LLCs that year. And so since then, I've just continued to grow, build businesses, sell businesses, and for the last really 18 years or so, I've been very heavy into digital technology, starting in some cases, actually three of the marketing channels that we as marketers use every day and companies use. And so I kind of found out very early that while I can be good at sales and marketing, and I am really good at those things usually, I'm an operator. I look for things that are working well, identify what we can scale and where there are bottlenecks in there that the team needs to work on. And then as much as possible, I try training other people to take over for me or others so that we can step back and go work on the next part of the business that we need to scale. So that's kind of my background. For the last 6 years, I've been very heavy into real estate. And right now I'm actually working for one of the fastest growing real estate companies in the world right now. And so, which is very exciting, in 20 plus countries and growing very quickly in the US. And so it's given me a great insights, actually, what kind of true entrepreneurialism looks like as well.
That's super awesome. And one of the real estate giant that I follow, and I have been following him for a very long time, Mr. Cardon.
Yep.
So he's super awesome. Both the couple is power pack, and the way they do the real estate business is like fun.
Yeah, well, I like everything there. The challenge for people to think, to be able to do way more than what they're trying. And so I like actually there's a lot I like from his approach, and a lot I don't agree with the methods. But what I do appreciate is people are capable of way more than what they realize. I realize that from my background. I mean, there's been 5 or 6 real inflection points where I would have thought before then there's no way I could do more than this, and something happened where now I'm working, 150 to maybe even 1,000% more than what I was before that, because I figured out something different in my own work life. And I do like that approach that he has about, hey, how do you 10x your thinking?
Awesome. So Kurt, I have seen that you speak a lot about influencer marketing. So in the world where anyone can be considered as an influencer, how can somebody set themselves apart when doing influencer marketing? Can you throw some light on that?
Yeah, I think people need to be authentic for who they are and realize they're not trying to be a Grant Cardone or a Gary Vaynerchuk. I mean, if for anything else, as a smaller influencer, you have much more authority with the people that you usually speak to. I mean, from a SEO and marketing perspective, we think long-term keywords. Influencers are the same thing. I mean, when somebody searches for Ford truck, like that's a very big term. When somebody listens to Grant Cardone, do they have a real connection? No, maybe you buy a book, but you don't. If he says, "I love this restaurant," like, is he getting paid for that? You don't have that feeling. But if, on the other hand, a real estate agent that has 300 friends on Facebook and doesn't do Pinterest and has no concept what TikTok is, says, "Hey, they like this restaurant." that's a really strong influence that they have. And so I think people just need to realize, hey, you have more influence than you think, and you need to work within that and respect those people that trust you. And so when you do that, it doesn't matter if you don't have 1 million followers or 100,000 followers. You have 10 followers. I guarantee you have more influence on your kids than any celebrity does, as an example.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. So when it comes to, let us expand this discussion a bit further. So when it comes to influencer marketing, how do you see that it is going to thrive in the influence economy?
Yeah, I think so much now. I mean, pay per click is still good, but especially with the economy slowing down around the world, pay per click is becoming much more expensive. And so that's a hard thing. And even if we stay with the real estate example, it's an area I've stayed in much more recently. If you look at some of the very large portals and the organic traffic, there's no company has enough dollars to pay for the number of visits some of these sites have. It is about influence. And so what people need to think about is, like, how do I build my life? How do I build my tribe and speak in a way, market in a way, so that people are encouraged to buy from me rather than just the quick fix of, hey, buy this one thing here because I said it's really good. You can get some sales from that, but if on the other hand you walk people through the story and the story arcs, you will grow a much faster business and a much higher peak than if you just try to sell based on kind of sales gimmicks or normal marketing. Influence is so much better. Even if you're at, a 50 person or 500-person company, people are not just buying from the company, they're buying from your people. At one of the companies I work with called Showcase IDX, they've recently started a podcast. I happen to have been a guest on it, but Paulo, who's on the customer success team, is the person running that, because people are buying from Paulo. They're buying from Reba on the team and Tiffany. And as a company, we acknowledge that. And the company provides a service and they have kind of the influence.
That actually makes sense. Awesome. So when you try to maneuver a lot of people who come to you, you guide them also with respect to the modern marketing. So when it comes to 2023, Kurt, what do you think? What is the effective digital marketing for the businesses going to be in 2023?
Um, I think the biggest thing is this is and when, especially when things slow down or people are scared about them slowing down. It's in a lot of industries I actually see things picking up, or they're shifting. What companies and especially leaders need to realize are two things. One, in slower markets, that's when there's always a handful of companies that add 1 to 2 zeros to their sales and even their net worth if they're an individual entrepreneur. And so if you look back at slow economies, 10 years ago, same thing of real estate agents and large SaaS companies where they added 1 to 2 zeros in just like 18 months to their total sales, because they look for market grabs and they look for growing market share where other people are scared. And with that, digital marketing is how you achieve that. And so I can scale things so much faster, whether it's with email and automation, but from influence as well. And so this is the time where I mentioned kind of before, pay per click is getting very expensive. If somebody's working in their business and things are slow, this is the time they should be focused on content marketing and things that will grow organic. What will make Google pay attention to your business? What gives you content that you might be able to either maybe publish, but maybe even just bank for the year ahead, so that when things pick back up, you have maybe even 6 months or 12 months of content to drip out to your people, because that's how you're going to grow the business today.
This is actually like massive, and I can feel like Moz, trying to speak the concept altogether. So thank you so much, Kurt, for this. And with this we come to the end of the phase one of our interview, and let's proceed ahead to the phase two, which is a rapid fire round. And in rapid fire round, Kurt, I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and you won't get time to think. Whatever comes in your mind, you can just have to share that. So are
Okay.
you ready?
Sure.
Awesome. Let me just zoom a little bit, make it a little more intense. Awesome. All right. So, very first question, who do you admire the most?
My mother, she's not around anymore, but she taught me a work ethic that I've never seen in anybody else that I've worked with.
Awesome. So, Kurt, all right. This is one question I have never asked. So, I would love to ask you in this. What would you do with your 15 minutes of fame if you get it? Like, top-notch fame.
Try to help others and serve. I got a little bit of that hosting events at the White House a number of years ago, and so it was a great place to be able to elevate others.
Awesome. All right, the third one is describe yourself in 3 words.
Ooh, perseverance, courage, and fear, because you can't have courage without having fear.
This is actually deep. Lovely. Thank you so much, Kurt. This is a different paradigm altogether. Awesome. All right. The fourth question is, what's your favorite superhero and why? I mean, who's your
Uh,
favorite superhero and why?
yeah, gosh, I hate to be kind of like just I always think Superman. I mean, he in the older comics, he always tried to do what was right, even though and convince people very often, even though he was clearly more powerful than everybody else. So often he tried talking people through his stuff rather than just using his fist.
Awesome. And the last one is, who is your favorite cartoon character and why?
Oh, my favorite cartoon character. Actually, we'll stay with superheroes. I really like the Flash, even though he's not my favorite superhero, because he was kind of the Jiminy Cricket, the ethical voice within the DC comics.
True, 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 true. Awesome. So thank you so much, Kurt, for this rapid fire round. And let's go ahead and I hope you enjoyed first of all this rapid fire round.
Yeah, it was great. I have not heard most of those questions before and not been asked quickly like that. So
Lovely. So, Kurt, all the people who are listening to this particular episode as a podcast or on any of the video platforms, if they want to connect with you and know more about you, how can they do that?
and my personal website is my digital hub. So kurtuhlir.com, just my name.com is the best place to find me. And for a number of free resources and guides that you can get as well.
Awesome. So, guys, the link will be in the description. Do check it out and do connect with him. Uh, Kurt, before we end this particular episode, what is the one message that you wish to give to all of us?
If you want to grow your company faster than you ever have before, stop trying to lead by authority and lead by influence and serving the people that work for you instead of just trying to tell them what to do.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much, Kurt, for accepting the invitation and being as a guest on the show. It means a lot to all of us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. So you have just listened to the Digital Maddie Show with your host and host Mithil. Thank you so much for listening to our show and giving so much love. Don't forget to subscribe to our show on Apple Podcast or Spotify or whatever platform you're listening to. And if you're watching on any of the video platforms, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. This is Mithil signing off at the moment along with Kurt. Until next time, meet you soon with another guest and their exciting stories. But until then, keep rocking, stay safe, and don't forget to keep creating content. Ciao.